And we're live. All right, finally. Hello, everyone. Charles Wallingford, Uncle Charles Wallingford from my other channel, but Charles Wallingford. We're here again. Seems like I have too much light. Let me see if I can adjust the light. What if that's better? No, it's not really better. It's just different. Well, that's what it's gonna be for right now. All right, guys. We have a couple things I want to go over, and no, it's going to be pretty fun. Probably the most I've done in a long time, as far as things I've gone over in a video. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to light a cigar, and we're going to go from there. All right, today's cigar, and it's part of what I'm going to talk about. Let's see here. There we go. That is the Paul Gamarian 20th anniversary. Paul Gamarian 20th anniversary. This is a Dominican cigar. It's made in the same place that you will get your Davidoff. I believe it's the exact same factory, if I'm not mistaken. That happens sometimes, as you know. AJ Fernandez makes many cigars for different people. We know that Arturo Fuente makes cigars for different people. And this is another representation of a cigar. Take it out of the package here. Paul Gamarian. Can you see that? It's too much. It seems like it's too much light taken away. Let's see the distance here. There it is. Paul Gamarian is one of my favorite brands all time. Number one reason why I like Paul Gamarian is because they are all aged cigars, all 100%. Now, anybody could say, all the cigars are aged. Yeah, all cigars are aged tobacco, but not many cigars will sit as long as Paul Gamarian's. For an example, this box right here. This box right here is a 2011. That's right, 2011. That's a good cigar. I had a couple of these already. This is my last, the fourth to last one. I don't like to smoke this because it's a larger cigar, but I'm going to be with you guys probably for a little while, so why not? And we have 4 people in watching. Make sure you come on in and let me know you're here. Say hello. It's good to see you guys. I enjoy doing these videos with you and for you. So let me know that you're here and just say hello or something like that. We're going to go ahead and light it up. Not going to go too far with the lighting. It's not going to be a real special lighting, just the usual. This is a figurado because it's pointed at one end, pointed at another end, where it comes to a point on both ends, figurado. This is a very, very good cigar. Again, I don't like to smoke this cigar too often because I don't usually finish it. I don't usually finish it. Hello, Luis. Thanks for joining me. All right. Just getting it going. Now, the draw is pretty good, even though it comes to a point here. A lot of times when you have cigars that come to a point, the draw is kind of tight. And especially since how large this cigar is, you're not going to have the smoothest draw when you have these longer cigars. So in this video, what we're going to talk about, the first thing we're going to talk about is aging, cigar aging. As I pulled this cigar out, I am ruined now. Paul Gamarian is one of my top, maybe my most favorite brand of all brands, and it's because you get a aged Paul Gamarian. Like once you get a taste for having aged cigars, you can't go back. You cannot go back, and it's a lot of reasons why a person wants to have an aged cigar. First off, it's easier to smoke. A cigar is easier to smoke. Why? Well, nicotine, nicotine is one of the things, but nicotine does have a shelf life. It is not stable and it can lose its power. So in time, the cigar is easier to smoke because it doesn't have the same power. Some of you have gotten so used to smoking extremely strong cigars, and I would kind of suggest not to do that. Smoking strong cigars actually will burn out your palate, and you don't want that. You want to be able to enjoy your cigar and everything else, and burning out your palate will happen with a very strong cigar. If you age your cigar, the nicotine levels will go down, and that's another thing I'm going to talk about later. I talked about it on other videos about health issues with smoking cigars. Well, Luis, if you see in the chat, Luis said he loves the Charter Oak. Charter Oak is a cigar I just didn't grab it. I have a box of Charter Oak right now that I opened that are 3 years old. They do really well aged. A lot of darker, stronger cigars age very well. The lighter cigars don't age as well. And I mean as well, meaning every cigar is going to hit a point where they're not going to be any better. They can maintain some flavor and some complexity and be good cigars, but they will eventually go down far as how good they are going to be, and lighter cigars will go down. And that's a couple years. That's like 15 years. If a cigar at 15 years and it's a lighter cigar, it will go down a little bit. If it's a darker cigar, it can go 20 years and it could be really good. Abraham, thanks for joining me. Yes, it's good to see you too. It's good to see you too. I'm glad I was able to do this with you. A lot of times I do the live videos on times that most people wouldn't be available to check in and say hello and everything else. A lot of people at work or what have you. So I figured this would be a good time to shoot a video. By all means, guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave the questions in the comment section, and I'll answer it. Okay, I've never had any Murcielago. You got to tell me how that goes. Spirit? No, we're going to have spirits, and we're going to talk about spirits, Luis. I have a couple that I'm going to talk about, and I want to make sure I highlight. Now, this particular cigar, if we're talking about pairing, here's the thing: if you have a cigar that's getting older, they don't stand up to stronger spirits. So something like a bourbon or a rye could not work with this. This is not very good with a bourbon or a rye. A lighter cognac, single malt scotch, blended scotch whiskey, this would be really good with. So since we're on the subject, even though I said this wouldn't be a good cigar to go with something like this, has anybody had this before? That's the Whistle Pig Camp Stock. I've been wanting to have Whistle Pig for quite some time, but I didn't want to take the risk because I don't like rye. and Whistle Pig is known for their rye. This is not a rye. This one is wow. If you ever see this in the store, guys, again, if you see this in the store, get it, pick it up. It is very good. Very good. Pour a little bit out. So this is not technically a bourbon because I have to look at the mash bill. I don't know the mash bill. This is not technically a bourbon, but it is very, very good. Can you see that? Should I put it back? Yeah, I'm gonna put it back here so you guys can see. It's pretty smooth. It doesn't have the bite rye has, and it's just has a sweet, nice. That's really good. It's for all intents and purposes. If you don't know any better, it's a bourbon, American whiskey. It's a bourbon, but I'm pretty sure because of the mash bill, because there's rye in it, but it's not overpowering at all. This mash bill probably doesn't go by the rules to be bourbon, so I'm pretty sure that it's not. It's not a bourbon. It's because it doesn't say it's a bourbon. It would put it on there if it was, but at the same time, it is. It's pretty damn good. And like I said, it is pretty easy to drink if you're used to drinking alcohol such as this. It is has a nice toastiness to it as they talked about it. Rosie, I'll show you again. Sorry about that. I'll show you again. Called the Whistle Pig Camp Stock Wheat Whiskey. Now this definitely is what you know. What it might not have any rye in it. It does. It tastes like it has rye in it, but it might not, being a wheated whiskey. But it's not a bourbon, so it may not. But this is limited edition. I've seen this only in a handful of places. People aren't fighting over it, and they soon will. It is really nice, really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoy having it. This I don't suggest to have this with this cigar. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see. Not bad. Not bad. Now, Rose, it's Rose. Rose asked me a question. He said, "What is your thoughts on Tennessee whiskey? I'm a Dickel fan, but Dickel gets a lot of hate. I don't know why Dickel gets a lot of hate, and Dickel's my favorite Tennessee whiskey, and they make a really good. I think it's 100 proof, or what is the proper term for that? I have to look it up. There's a Dickel that is lights out. Bottle and bond. The Dickel bottle and bond is fantastic. That Dickel bottom and bond is around 50 something, $60, depending on where you are. It is absolutely a steal. It's steal because the 9 year bourbons, I think the Barrel Select isn't as good. It's not as good. It's good, but not as good. That bottle and bond is, I think, one of the best I've ever had, as far as anything close to that. But right now, like I said, this Whistle Pig, again, so everybody sees it, is fantastic. Now it's at 43% alcohol by volume. 750 milliliter. Everybody can see that. Yeah, I like this one a lot. I suggest anybody, if you see it, go ahead, pick it up. So, Abraham, what we're talking about, and hey, how you doing? If I didn't say hello, what we're going to talk about next up, after we talk about the next spirit that I have today that I want to suggest to people, which is a pretty good deal. We're going to talk about cigars and talk about the cigar I have. I talked about it when we first started, and today we are smoking out. I know, I understand I'm going to have to repeat this over and over again. This is the Paul Gamarian 20th anniversary Symphony. This is a Figurado. This, I can't remember the gauge. I know that this is a 7. I think at this thickest point it might be a 50, like a 58 or something. But it actually, that's at its thickest point. It starts to taper down when you get closer to the end. And since you asked, Luis, the watch today is a brand. Let's see, make sure it's nice so you can see it. Matthew Tissot. I think this is a 21, Matthew Tissot 21, type 21. It's a quartz. I'm not wearing anything terribly expensive, but for what it is, it's a pretty good watch. If you go to my Uncle Wallingford channel, I have a review there, and you can see it in all its glory. But thank you. I do pride myself on my watches and my cigars and my spirits. And of course, I like to look good too. So I'm dressed down a little bit today, wearing my Expedition Everest t-shirt. One of my favorite rides in all of Disney World. And that might be a subject matter today too. All right, let's set this to the side. So this spirit is this Shin malt whiskey, 15 year. This is a Japanese whiskey. Another recommendation, not terribly expensive for what it is, a 15-year malt whiskey. My wife got this for me for my birthday. My birthday has passed. So she got me this, and I was pretty impressed because usually she doesn't do well. she goes in the direction that I wasn't expecting her to, and she tries so hard, but women try so hard to buy gifts for men, and they miss a lot, and they miss because they go too complex. They tried so hard that they just completely go off in the wrong direction. All they have to do, like perfect example, all my wife has to do is buy me another one of these. Buy me one of those, that's fine. But they don't want to get something you already have. They don't want to get you something that they want to be so original and make you say, wow, oh my God, I didn't know you thought this and that. No, they can't get it. At least my wife can't. My wife cannot. It's very, very, very rare where she gets me a gift of some sort, and I'm like, oh wow, that I was not expecting you to get that, and this is perfect. I don't think that's ever happened. No, one time it happened. Long time ago. I've been married for 23 years. I've been married for 23 years. And my wife, like maybe year 4, she got me a box set, not DVD, but VHS box set of the first UFCs. That was probably the most thoughtful and good gift I got from my wife. All the rest of them, like, thanks. Well, thanks again, Abraham. Abraham. I didn't know how this sounds. I'm glad it sounds good. It's a lot of background noise. We have a lot of crickets going on. We have a party that's not too far from us. I was actually at. That's why this live stream was supposed to be at 7. That's why it's kind of late. But thank you for letting me know that my sounds coming in good. Anyway, let's talk about the Shin. Let's talk about the Shin. It's the 15 year. A lot of times, if you've ever had, I'll just because of today, something like a whiskey back to back, like two different whiskeys, you'll experience flavors that you weren't not expecting to taste, or they'll amplify flavor, or they'll conflict. They don't conflict, but this tastes a lot fruitier than I've ever had because I had for lack of a better term, the bourbon earlier. And this is a good one too. The alcohol by volume is what is this? I'm gonna have to take it out. No, 48. This does not feel 48. This feels much lower than 48. If you're not familiar, once you go past 40, you feel every percentage. Like this, the Shin Japanese whiskey, single malt whiskey or malt whiskey, I don't know if it's a single malt, is higher ABV than this Whistle Pig at 43, but it's smoother. It's smoother. And that's the thing with Japanese whiskey. Guys, if you haven't had the opportunity to try Japanese whiskey, one of my favorites is coffee malt. If you find it's not spelled coffee traditionally, it's called coffee malt. That's a really good one if you're able to see it. Let me see if I can pull that up for you. It is a Japanese whiskey too. Typing with one hand because I got so much stuff all over the place. Nika. Yeah, Nika makes that. I don't know if you guys are lucky enough to have a Total Wine near you. The Nika coffee malt is really good. Let me see if I can get that on here. I'm just still learning how to do these. Share screen. Yeah, there we go. And that's it. Nika coffee malt. It's grain whiskey. That is very good. That to me, that's one of the best. And if we go in here, and what's my other favorite? Hibiki. Yes, Hibiki. I've done a couple of videos with Hibiki. That one is a good one. That is a really, really good one. Hibiki is fantastic. If you want to have your first Japanese whiskey, that's the one to try. Hibiki is fantastic. And guys, don't forget to hit me with the like button. Makes a difference. Thanks a lot. All right. Now this combination, I think this combination is more suited for each other. And if you guys most likely have watched any of my pairing videos, it matters which item goes first. The sequence matters. So if you puff then sip, it'll taste different. If you sip then puff, it could taste different. Which one is better? I don't know. I don't know. I think they're about even. Luis, I've had Mars before. Mars is pretty good too. Guys, you'll definitely check that out. Luis is right. All right, guys, if you're just coming in, we're going to tell you what cigar we're smoking today. Paul Gamarian Symphony 20 is the 20th year anniversary. This is a aged cigar from 2011. Doesn't get much better than this, guys. Really doesn't. Like, I understand guys who love their Cuban cigars. Paul Gamarian definitely competes with Cuban cigars. They definitely do. And also, Paul Gamarian has ruined me. Ruined me. I don't like smoking new cigars. At the very least, unless it's something I really, 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 really want to try, it's going to sit in my humidor for at least the shortest would probably be 3 months. The average is about 3 years. Yeah, I usually smoke cigars that are at least 3 years old because I'm so used to having aged cigars. I don't really care to because I forgot to tell you about this. There's certain things that get emitted when you are fermenting the tobacco, and one of the things that gets emitted when you ferment tobacco is ammonia. The ammonia levels completely go away. I would say maybe after 10 years completely, but it's at damn near single digits after 5 years. After 5 years, you're probably talking about, I don't know how to measure it, but the ammonia level in this cigar, it's not. There is no ammonia level. So you get to really, truly enjoy the cigar. And then also the nicotine level goes down. You don't have the same nicotine level because nicotine is not stable. Nicotine levels go down on an aged cigar. So to answer your question, you Louise, before I talk about the cigar some cigars I have, my humidors, I keep them around 65. If I can keep it around 65 degrees Fahrenheit and around 65, 63 relative humidity, that's where I want them at. I don't want them at 70. I've done videos on it. I talked about it before. The 70-70 rule, if you're not familiar with the 70-70 rule, is so that a cigar lounge doesn't spend too much money because they will spend a lot of money if they have their walk-in humidor is one temperature and their the rest of the building is another temperature. It's very difficult. And when you lower your temperature, you also will lower your relative humidity. So they can't have two different humidities in there if they have, or they can, but it's too expensive. In maybe a place like England, they can get away with it. And that's a lot of places in England. They will tell you they don't go by that 70-70 rule. Of course, why? Because first of all, they use Celsius, centigrade. They don't use Fahrenheit. So it's no 70-70 rule anyway. But in England, it's going to be cooler, and they always keep it at a cooler level, and it's better for cigar aging. It truly is. So let's go to another cigar that I want to recommend to you guys. Cuesta Rey. Cuesta Rey, and this is the Cen- Centenario. Centenario. Now, the Centenario is a good one. I have the other one. I can't remember what the other one is called. This is from 21. This is from 2021. This aged really good. I've only had one so far. As you can see, I've only had one so far. It's just out of 10. This is a Dominican Rhodes cigar, Pyramid number 9. And this is out of the Fuente um, manufacturing. So it's rolled in Dominican Republic at Fuente factory, but it's a J.C. Newman cigar. That's what I was thinking about earlier when I started the video. If you are not familiar, and Fuente does it for other brands, but J.C. Newman and Arturo Fuente, they have an agreement for I don't know how long, for quite a few years, where they will do things for each other, including having the cigars rolled on the Fuente factory for J.C. Newman cigars. Sosa family, I don't know if they're still around anymore, but I have a box waiting to that are aging right now. Sosa family, they also are rolled in the Fuente factory, and I know it's quite a few more than that. And the key to good cigars, or the key to aging a cigar, they need to be a good cigar first. They need to be a good cigar first. You can't age a bad cigar into being a good cigar. It just doesn't happen. So, what I always do, I look on my YouTube, just like you guys. I look on YouTube. I have Cigar Aficionado. I have Cigar Snob. I have Cigars and Whiskey. I go in those publications, read up, and then I'll make a purchase. I never had a Cuesta Rey before. I did not have a Cuesta Rey before. That was a complete blind buy. But I trust Arturo Fuente, and I trust the people who are on YouTube too. And one of my favorite YouTubers who does not get his due, Mr. Rollins. Let me see if I can bring that up for you guys. Yeah, Tim Rollins. Tim Rollins. We are good friends, and I highly suggest checking him out. Let me switch this over. But he does not get his due. If you guys don't know, if you're not familiar, I stopped doing videos because YouTube doesn't like cigars. So once I hit 10,000 subscribers, I got shadow banned. I started getting I started getting warnings out of for cigar for videos that were old. I got a warning for a video that wasn't even directly talking about a cigar. So they don't like cigars, and even my watch videos weren't getting the views I know they would get once I hit 10,000 subscribers. So a lot of guys say, "Oh no, they don't do that. That's not happening right now." Well, a lot of guys don't have 10,000 subscribers, so that's why they're not facing that right now. We're gonna go to my man Tim Rollins real quick, so you know what he looks like. Give him his due. Let's see here if I'm doing this right. Hmm. Can you guys hear it in the background? I don't know. Here we go.
Uh,
Yeah, this is my
my
man,
rolos in this line are
Tim
named
Rollins. I've
for
actually talked to him. I've
the
befriended
placencias
him.
and
We
the different
get along
generations.
really
I'm not
well.
sure what
He
six
he
though
he and
means,
I
other
share a
than
similar
that
palate.
that's
That's
six
important too.
sides. But
If
be that as
a
it may, let's just get to the
cigar
review. How about that?
YouTuber
The new
or a whiskey
Placencia
YouTuber or what have you,
Almaforte
you guys share the
Sixto One.
same profile as far as what you like. You have the same palate.
No one
It
difference
won't
you'll
be
see
a
other
big
than the
risk
shape and the size of this
if
cigar
you
is
have
the band
a
is a
make a
dark
purchase
forest green
that
and
is a
gold,
blind buy
where the
because
Robustos was
I
black
blind
and
buy
gold.
blind
And
purchase
we've got this little,
this
isn't that so cool
Placencia,
how
not
the
Placencia, this
hexagon
Cuesta
effect?
Rey
We've got this
because of
little
Tim
band at the
Rollins.
foot we need to
So
remove. Now what you need to do is find where this
if you
thing
have somebody
starts,
that you
this
really
band,
like,
and
they will absolutely be a good person to use for yourself. Hey Joel, how are you? Uriel, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, I've known Tim Rollins for a while. He's been doing it for a while. Like me, he doesn't put a lot into the production. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's just it takes a lot of time to do this production. Even now, when I set everything up, I got lights, and because I got lights, I got moths all over the place. I used to do more of my older videos. I would have something in the background just to add to it, and it starts adding up with time. So don't do it like I used to. So I want to show you guys another great cigar. That's the Placencia Alma Forte. Alma Forte. This cigar, like if you guys like Padron, this cigar to me is a dead ringer for the Padron Family Reserve Maduro 19, I think it's the 56. Let me look that up. What I have done, that's another cigar that I've aged. That needs to be aged. That cigar is so strong. It is just over the top. Tastes great. It tastes great, but the nicotine level on that is just off the charts. 1964. Okay, the Family Reserve 1964, and that is one of my that's my favorite Padron, and that Alma Forte tastes exactly like that after you have aged it for a little while. You cannot, it does not, it's not the same. That cigar needs to calm down. Honestly, this cigar would probably be one of those cigars that should wait around 20 years, honestly. But you know, it's hard to wait that long. But I am pretty confident that cigar after 20 years is going to be a lights out cigar. Oh no, Abraham, that was your first cigar? How did that go? Please tell us how that went, because I would not suggest anybody having that for their very first cigar. Probably tasted good, but that probably had to mess you up for that level of nicotine, because that's a strong cigar. Here's something I want to tell you guys about, in case you are looking to have a non-alcoholic combination, non-alcoholic uh, alternative to go with your cigar. Topo Chico, this particular Topo Chico too. I don't like regular um, sparkling water, but this particular Topo Chico is pretty damn good. I'm gonna start drinking that in a minute. I don't like to go too far with too many drinks. Um, Plus, I drink such heavy, high alcohol by volume, uh, and I drink everything straight, so it'll get pretty pretty crazy after a while. I like the taste of alcohol. I haven't been drunk in years. I get light buzzes, and that's all I go for. I calm it down. Either I drink water, or I drink something like that with a sparkling water. I don't like to drink and drink and drink and drink. I want to enjoy and remember the whole experience, and also what I drink tends to be too expensive to just down and just go crazy on. Well, thank you, Joe. Um, I don't like that I don't make videos like I used to, but as I said before, I don't like how YouTube treats the cigar community, and it is quite unfortunate that the videos don't get out like they should, and how they are so captured into what cigars are and are not, and they have bought in on a lie what cigars are all about. As I talked about before, and part of the reason of talking about aged cigars are never studied. When they do their studies to say these products are bad for you, they never include an aged cigar. That's not part of their method to put an aged cigar in there. An aged cigar does not have the same nicotine levels, and they don't have the same ammonia levels and other chemicals like that. And then on top of that, they group in anything with a cigar. So when they do their research, they purposely go after um, products that are crap. So, for an example, if you go to your local gas station, 7-Eleven, or what have you, what do you find? You have White Owl, Dutch Masters, Black and Mild. You have all those different cigars. They're technically called cigars, and they're nothing like what I'm smoking right now. They're absolutely not. But then they'll test them and say, look at the nicotine level, look at this level, look at all the terrible things that people are putting in their body when they smoke a cigar. But they're not talking about a Paul Gamarian 20-year-old. What is it? Not this is not 20-year-old. This is a 15, 14, 13-year-old cigar. You're not talking about that. And so what they're doing is they're getting people to think it's not what it is, and it's not on accident. I did a video on it before. It's about the health effects of cigars, but I talk about the how the cigarette industry purposely tries to get you to think a cigarette and a cigar is exactly the same. Because if a cigar and a cigarette was exactly the same, I'd be addicted to cigars. I would be absolutely addicted to cigars. I don't, for as another reason why I don't do the videos like I used to, I don't smoke like that. I don't smoke them that often. That also allows me to age them. So if I can have this and not be addicted, something's missing. This is probably 5 or 6 as volume goes, cigarettes, at least. Might even be 10, more so around 10. Why am I not addicted? Well, the cigarette industry actually does the research. The cigarette industry does the commercials. The commercials are funded by the cigarette companies. And they never say smoking cigarettes. They always say big tobacco or nicotine. Nicotine is not the thing that kills you. It's all the other chemicals that go into smoking cigarettes. Yeah, check that video out. I have it in there. As I said before, part of the shadow ban, it's hard to research my videos, but it's in there. If you look in my library, you will find the videos I talk about the health effects of smoking a cigar. Also, another thing, guys, I see you guys, a lot of you guys agree with me. Here's another example. Look up Arturo Fuente. Look up the different Cuban cigars. What are you going to find? You're going to have factory tours. They want people to come and have a factory tour. Come to Dominican Republic, come to Cuba, come to Nicaragua, and you can go on a factory tour. You can't do that with a cigarette of any type. And you sure as hell aren't going to go on a factory tour with a camera. Oh no, you will not do that. But it's plenty of videos on YouTube right now where they give factory tours of cigars. They want you to see what they're doing because they don't have anything to hide. They want to show the quality. But cigarette companies, they absolutely will not show a factory tour. No. If you ever see a video with a factory tour, it's not a factory tour. It's a secret camera for cigarettes. And that goes into the next subject. I have done research on cigars and everything else, but my big thing is I've done research on foods. And for those of you who don't know, this is understanding flavors and blending flavors is not new to me because I actually went to college to be a chef. I went to the military right after that, and it just went into law enforcement and security after that. So I never got back into on an industrial level, on a professional level with food, but that information never left me, and I've always cooked. I cook all the time for myself, and I cook on a high level at home. What does that mean? And what am I getting at? Well, recently I knew this, but it just reiterated everything I believed and confirmed everything I understand. If you check out Joe Rogan podcast, he recently had a couple on there. The wife was a surgeon, the husband was a lobbyist, and they broke down and basically are whistleblowers for the food industry and what they're doing to us and everything else. A lot of the problems we have, I mean, problems we have totally, whatever you could think of, is directed. It can be traced back to our food. Our food is so bad. Our food is just wrong, wrong, wrong. And one of the things, I know that many people are watching this. Hopefully, more people will watch this when it replays. Guys, what you're eating is absolute poison. And what am I getting at? What did I just talk about? The cigarette industry? Guys, who owns Nabisco? Who owns Nabisco? Anybody know? I'm gonna see. I'm gonna stop for a second. All right, nobody knows. Nobody's putting it in there. Philip Morris. So the people who own Oreo make cigarettes. You ever have one Oreo? Anybody just smoke one cigarette? Just saying. Just saying. But what I'm really saying is processed foods are destroying the people of this country. And it destroys in every facet of your life. Not just your muscles or not just maybe your organs, but also brain, the formation of your brain. If you're eating crap while your mother's pregnant with you, that's going to affect you. If you're eating crap as a little kid, that's going to affect you. You're eating that as you get older, it's affecting you. And we look at people like, how do people believe this stuff? How do people what like perfect example, why do people not understand or argue what a woman is? That's some basic stuff. Like, oh, we don't have the research to know that women in sports is really that big of a difference. We never needed to. We never needed to research this. And now it's a thing. It's serious. We have people who believe the craziest things. And what are we doing? What are we doing? What we're doing is we're poisoning ourselves. We're poisoning ourselves so we can't think straight. And it's a full the full it's the full circle of it. I've been on my other channel. The whole purpose of my other channel, if you guys haven't watched it, it's trying to fight with what's going on with people not being in relationships. It's trying to fight with people trying to stay together. I was giving marriage advice, but no one watches the videos. And part of the reason why no one watches the videos because YouTube's in on it. Yeah, YouTube is in on it. They want us to be sick. They want us to be lonely. They want us to be weak. And they want us to work hard and have nothing. That's what they want. So if you're happily married, if you have kids, and you're eating healthy, that's exactly what they don't want because you are forced to think on your own. Not forced, but you're going to think on your own. You critically think, and then you think in a more like when you're single, you think about just you. When you have kids, you have to think about the outside. You have to think about who your kids playing with, where your kids going to school, what they're doing, and this, that, and the other. But when you're thinking about singular, and that's the big thing now, a lot of young people aren't having kids. Either they don't want to, or they can't find anybody. That's the big thing. People are having a very difficult time finding each other, and it goes all the way back to we are bad products for the opposite sex. We're a bad product for the opposite sex because we're not eating right. That's it. Think about it. People aren't sitting down having meals with the whole family. And what happens when you have multiple meals with home family? You can't afford to do that, especially with kids. You got to cook the food. And even if you're opening up a box, and you're making the food, it's still better than the processed food at a fast food place. Here's another thing I want to hit you guys with, as far as health. Like I said, I worked in the food industry. Vegetable oil isn't really vegetable oil. It's not made from carrots, onions, celery. It's made from seed oils, cottonseed, rapeseed, and things like that. That stuff is not good for you. But they tricked us to think that stuff is fine. Canola oil is good for you, and you don't want high cholesterol. High cholesterol is so bad when it actually isn't. So cholesterol can be bad when you mix it with a whole bunch of complex carbohydrates. But when you go and eat high uh, uh, high carb foods from high volume places where it's fast food, the oil that they're using is designed not to break down. I worked in these places. We could use that oil for a number of days, and they do. So what does it do in your system? These fryers are going to be on for hours and hours and hours, and they don't break down. Your body can't break down that oil if a fryer that's at 300 to 500 degrees can't break down that oil. And you're ingesting that. A lot of you've maybe seen, especially men, you've seen men with pot bellies, but the rest of their body is fine. They don't have fat ass ankles, they don't have fat ass arms or anything else, but they have that pot. What is that? What is that? That is food that can't get broken down. And one of the things that facilitate that is the oil that they use. So if I can make any suggestion to you guys, olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, and actual butter, lard are way better than anything, any vegetable oil any other vegetable oil, because they're natural things that naturally will break down. So, guys, look at that podcast. Let me see if I can find it. Check that podcast out. It's so many things, because again, the husband is a lobbyist, but he actually was on the other side. He was on the dangerous side, but he just couldn't deal with it. He felt guilty about doing the job that he was doing. That's why he came out on the Joe Rogan podcast with that. Let's see if I can find that family, that husband and wife. It is amazing, and it is sad, and it's scary how we have been made so weak and so soft. Now it's not on YouTube. I don't see it on YouTube, but a lot of people are in on it. A lot of companies are in on making us weak, and it's going to get bad because we're not reproducing. And by us not reproducing, a lot of people think that we're overcrowded. But here's the thing: it won't work out the way we think it's going to work out. Japan is having some serious problems. China is having serious problems, and South Korea is also having problems. And it's not just simply, oh, we have less people. No, you're going to have less people doing things that you need them to do. It'll be a complete collapse. It's not going to be a slow trickle, because it just doesn't work that way. It's none of these things are going to be perfect, and it's not going to happen well. Yeah, if you can, growing your own food. Me personally, what I do, there's a farmer's market. I'm about this. I have to relight this. There's a farmer's market near me, and everybody doesn't have a farmer's market near them. But if you can go to your local farmer's market, it's worth it. Eggs, milk. That's the foundation. Eggs and milk. Eggs and milk. That is the best thing you can do. I started going and had only drinking organic milk, and it's made a humongous difference in my family's health. A humongous difference. Um, it's personal, but I want you guys to understand this. My wife could not maintain a regular period until we start drinking whole milk that was organic, and it's from these farmers markets. It's if you can only get the store brand organics, go with the store brand organics. But if you can go to a farmer's market, a mom and pop place it will be expensive. If you get those things, it's going to be so much better. Also, excuse me. Also, what I'm getting at with Nabisco and other brands being owned by these big mega brands, they want you to keep buying it. When you buy real food, you get full much, much quicker. If you eat the right kind of meat, you will get full and won't overeat. those foods are designed for you to just go and go and go and go and designed. They're not chefs making this food. When I was in culinary school, when I was out there, the big thing was to go to a big corporation like Disney World, and be a chef at one of these hotels or whatever. It was never, it was never going to Kraft or Nabisco or Nestle or anything like that. And I'm not saying Nestle or Kraft is one of those things. They probably are, but they didn't come to our school because our better students would get recruited like athletes. Our better students in the culinary field in our culinary school, they would get recruited like athletes. Same thing as in our hotel management. My good friend, he got recruited like he was an athlete, coming out of college, going into the pros to work at different hotels. None of those companies did that. So what I'm saying is chefs don't work at these big snack food companies. They're scientists. They're scientists who go on and see what phys- physically or I can't think of the word, but what we are drawn to far as flavor, not what a chef would try to put together. If you understand what I'm trying to say. Now, also, Abraham, I'm not going to tell you that try the organic milk is going to make a difference. I've known people who had the organic milk or milk that was from farmers markets. It fared better for them. But I will say, certain places, really health food markets that sell goat's milk, goat's milk will not affect you the same way that cow's milk will if you really just can't take in cow's milk. And it's a lot of people are not can't process the lactose. But here's another thing: is it the lactose from just a cow that's in these huge mega farms or what have you, or is it all cows? Maybe, maybe not. But that's another thing. Here's another thing I'm gonna hit you guys with. My pasta, I will not buy any pasta that's made for Americans or made in America. All the pasta that I consume, that I purchase, will always say made in Italy. Why is that? Because Italy does not have the same loose laws that Americans have. Americans have very, very loose laws, and we don't really have people who have what is it? Not glucose. Um, what's the term? I can't think of the term, but the wheat we have is not the same wheat that they have in Italy and other countries. They don't let that happen. Yeah, I know, guys. You're watching these videos. We talked about whiskey, talked about cigars, and we start talking about uh, uh, food and everything else. But it brings it back to our cigars, guys. My mother's father died of lung cancer. My father died from complications due to smoking cigarettes. My grandfather died of smoking cigarettes also, lung cancer. And why would I take the risk of smoking a cigar, if that's the risk? But here's the thing: why is Michael Jordan still alive? If you guys know about cigar smoking and famous cigar smokers, famous cigar smokers, they're fine. Why would Curry take a risk of smoking cigars as much as he does? Because he does. Something to think about if you never thought about it. A lot of times you'll have people who aren't into cigars. They're like, "Oh no, I'm not into. I don't want to risk getting cancer." It really doesn't happen, guys. It really doesn't happen. Yeah, you're right. We are pumping bullshit into our animals and in our also in our produce. A lot of our produce is messed up. It's not right. It's just filled with pesticides that never come out of them, filled with chemicals to make them faster, they grow faster, and then we reject it. That's what's wrong with our wheat. Our wheat is high yield wheat. And with that high yield wheat, people can't process it right. Or gluten allergy. That's what I was looking for. Gluten allergy. Where the hell gluten allergy? People didn't have gluten allergies when I was young. No, I never heard of anybody with a gluten allergy. That is so new. And people think, oh, you're just weak. They're not weak. They're not weak. And here, let me hit you with something else. I still got people watching, people listening. So I'm going to hit you with this another thing. And this is going to be, for some of you, it might be hard to swallow, but it's also with different people with how do I want to put this? With different races. One of the things that's been told that's almost right, but not completely right, and they would say in black neighborhoods, there's liquor stores on every corner. You're right. There is liquor stores on every corner. It's true. But in other neighborhoods, there's liquor stores not far from each other where my old neighborhood, not this neighborhood I live in now, but my old neighborhood that was probably 75% white. You could walk to another liquor store, no problem. You could drive 2 miles and run into 6 liquor stores. But what's the difference? The difference is what's sold in those liquor stores. That's the difference. If you ever go into a liquor store and you go to Macallan, on the shelf, it'll be 80 something dollars, depending on which one it is. $100. Not till it's around $300. Is it behind glass or behind the desk? But where is the Hennessy? Where's the certain tequilas? It's not really what we take in. And one of the things that's loose and fast is tequila. Tequila is loose and fast. You really got to watch what tequila you have. Tequila can be, a lot of people do really well with tequila, but if you get a cheap tequila, it will mess you up. It will mess you up. And it's not because tequila, it's the bullshit they put in it. And then also what we're doing, like I said, when people are from poor neighborhoods, they're from what we call a bad neighborhood, we call a low income neighborhood. What are they eating? What are these ladies eating? These young women eating when they're pregnant? What are they drinking while they're pregnant? Are we forgetting that they're drinking orange drink and purple drink and things like that? Drinking soda. What is happening to that baby when you're taking in those weird, funky chemicals that are flavored or orange like and fruit flavored like when there's actually no fruit in it? What is happening? What about the other food, the snack foods that's designed for us just to keep going? And I use Oreo again from Nabisco, owned by Philip Morris. I know you guys like Oreos, but what is that cream made out of? From being a culinary artist, being a culinary student, having a degree, there's no dairy in that whatsoever, and we call it cream. We call it cream. So when people have lower income, they're almost doomed because of the food they eat. So they're making bad choices, living wrong from zero. When their mother is pregnant with them, they're living wrong, and it just keeps going and keeps going. And what I'm getting at is, if these activists really cared If these activists really wanted people to be treated better, they jump on the health, but they're all purchased and bought. You know, McDonald's gave to Black Lives Matter, right? McDonald's is always given to some kind of African American Black foundation. They're saying, hey, yeah, there's a lot of inequities with you guys, and here's some money to help fight it, and don't look our way. Oh yeah, that's going on. But you know, if you keep talking like the way I'm talking, I'm gonna sell out in Uncle Tom because you just keep going down the rabbit hole. Exactly, Abraham. Exactly, Abraham. Abraham. Let me see if we can put that on here because I have been doing this. Put that on there. This is what Abraham put on here. That he's referring to McDonald's and other places. Hey, we're good people because we gave you money. We contributed to your fund. We helped you on your campaign. But they really cared. That'd be the first thing, the foundation. They don't care about what you eat, and they don't care about your family. They don't care about your family. They don't want you to have a family. They don't want you to have a father in the home. Because if I've read a book called The Boy Crisis, and I've read other books dealing with kids. And one of the big things is every measurable, and everybody says, well, you know, you just don't know sometimes, whatever, but every measurable area you can think of, a child is better percentage wise in a nuclear family with a mother and father at home. And I'm sorry, I can't help it, but it's the actual fact. And if it's a mother and father, not a homosexual couple. Now, for the homosexual couples that adopt kids, God bless you. You're doing God's work. You truly are. However, if you were to have everything equal, but you had mother and father, the child turns out better. It just is the truth. Well, Abraham, I think you got to understand what they, by law, if they say it's 100% beef, it has to be 100% beef. And it probably is 100% beef. That means any part of the cow, though. That means any part of the cow. So it very well be 100% beef. What part of the cow are we eating? Is who's included? Connective tissue included? Yes, absolutely. So I believe McDonald's is not lying when they say it's 100% beef. I'm saying that it's not the best parts. It's not the best parts at all. Oh, it doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste good, and it's full of other things too. So a big thing is salt. We take in too much salt. Way too much salt. That's a lot of people's problems where they take in too much salt. But yeah, the meat in a McDonald's burger. Well, the big thing about McDonald's, they did a really good job. It's because they get you when you're young. They give you that Happy Meal. Because first of all, you talk about the burger doesn't taste like meat. Well, the chicken nuggets don't taste like meat. But the big thing is the scientists, not the chefs, the scientists understand what you want to experience when you're eating. And a lot of times little kids, their palate isn't complex. It's pretty damn simple. They eat by color, brown, yellow, red only if it's going to be ketchup, and that's pretty much it. So you never develop your palate if you're eating those chicken nuggets. And then when you have actual chicken, it tastes completely different. And the chicken nuggets, You know they don't say that's 100%. Far as I can remember, I know they have on their on label 100% beef for their burgers. I don't know if they put 100% chicken on their chicken nuggets, but they get you when you're young. They give you the toy. They have the play area to get you to remember that you had a good time at McDonald's. That's what they're not pushing the food, they're pushing the time. They're pushing the experience. And that's exactly what a good scientist figures out. Go ahead with the Topo Chico. Now, here's a little thing. This particular flavor I like. I don't really like sparkling water per se. I'll just rather have regular what do you call that? What kind of water is that? Water that doesn't have bubbles in it. I can't think. But this actually says when I read it too late. Even this on the label on here, it says ingredients have genetically modified ingredients. It has genetically modified ingredients in it, so it has to be the blueberries. Damn, got me. So, but it's good. But this will be the last time I purchase any more of this. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna start bringing it down, start closing shop, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any questions before we go. But I had a pretty good time. I'm glad you guys were able to sit here and listen to me. Do some research on your own, and I would love to do this again. Maybe twice a month instead of just once a month. But this is the best I can do sometimes. And lately, side note, I've been focusing on my youngest son. My youngest son is playing sports, and we're trying to work to get him getting him as much money as possible for college. So it's been the video stuff is all about him lately. But thank you so much for coming in. The progression. Thanks for visiting Uriel. Thanks for having me. Here, wait a minute, Uriel. You have something. Even the FDA is part of this. They approve of it, and oh yeah, absolutely. The FDA is part of the problem, and then we have too many different organizations. We have the FDA, the EPA, the CDC. I can't remember. We have another one, and they all overlap, causing red tape. If you want to do anything, all these regulations that keep people out of actually eating good food because they have so much red tape. But yeah, the FDA is part of it too. But guys, thank you so much. If you don't have any other questions, I'll hold off for a second. But thank you so much, everybody who came. Abraham, thanks for coming. Joel, thanks for coming. Who else? Yeah. And then everybody else that checked in and didn't say anything. Thanks for coming. And I'll see you next time. I enjoyed this, and like I said, on my Uncle Charles Wallingford channel, check it out. I always say I'm here to help. And for this one, I gave my recommendations again. Whistle Pig Camp Stock Wheat Whiskey. That stuff is really good. The Shin Japanese Malt Whiskey, 15-year, fantastic for a great price. Great cigar to age. Paciencia Almaforte. Cuesta Rey. Centenario. Very good aging cigar also. Not expensive. And of course, my favorite brand. Not to say they're not expensive. They actually can be slightly pricey. Paul Mary and PG 20th anniversary. That's what I'm smoking now. Limited edition. Great cigar. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. This is how I would spend my time and my money.